Do we have more participants? At any point, guys, if you have any questions about this information or any type of negativity, anything that you think is like holding you back from getting to the next level, don't be afraid to comment in the comment section. So I'm going to talk about me and the stuff that I've been through and what is success and what is failure as far as you going for the goals that you want. I am 37 years old. I was born in Houston, Texas. I grew up in Chicago. I moved to Chicago at a young age. My dad worked construction. Um, he, worked construction, and I grew up with an older sister and a little brother in Chicago. And one of my first jobs was flipping burgers for McDonald's. Okay, that was one of my first jobs. I went to a school called Gage Park in the south side of Chicago. Not the best area. My dad worked construction, and he had a good life. My mom and dad, they had a good time. We used to go to Mexico on vacations every year. I was sent to Houston, Texas with my uncle at a young age, at 15 years old, because I was actually at a different high school, and some girl had got killed in front of the school. So my parents were concerned about my safety. So they're like, you know what? We don't want anything to happen to you, so we're going to send you to a different city so you could survive. Back in the days, it was like Tupac and Biggie Smalls and a lot of a lot of gang violence and stuff like that. This was like 1995, 1996. So what has changed? Everything has changed. I remember walking around with the pager and meeting with my friends in code. They would send me like 411 upside down. It would say hello. And there was no communication. The internet, America Online, when it came out, it literally changed everything. And that was like 1997 or 98. I remember having my first cell phone, and my mother ordering the phone to the house. They shipped it to my house, to my mom's house. And I remember opening up my first flip phone, and I was like, wow, that's it. No more pager. Now it's about having a cell phone. So if you were the cool kid like Zach from Saved by the Bell, if anyone has ever watched the series Saved by the Bell, you were the cool kid. You had a phone, and you actually had like a wire sticking out, and you're walking around talking. I was like 15, 16 years old, talking about, hey, what's up? Are you guys going to go to the party and blah, blah, blah. And that was like 1997, 1998. So technology has literally changed the way that we do business. And maybe the topic should be today of how things have changed so we can understand where we're going. So my first job was like working for McDonald's Corporation, flipping burgers. And that was like, when I was in high school, in my summer vacation. I always wanted to work and make my own way through life. I didn't want to depend on my parents at a very young age. Now, the reason that I got that job at McDonald's was because I remember seeing my older sister work for McDonald's. So she was my older sister. So we do what we see. So if you have people in your environment, that's what you're going to do. You're going to do what is around you. So you know, I could be the mentor in your life that can literally change the way you think about life. Now, I'm just like you. I was always broke. I don't come from, silver spoon. My dad, like I said, we heard stories about our grandfather being successful in agriculture and stuff like that, with the farm and stuff like that. But we never really participated in that. My dad kind of left his town where he was from, and he basically went out to the world, and was like, we were living in Chicago back in the days, like Michael Jordan. So I've seen the good times, but I've also seen the bad times. I've experienced what it is to feel hungry. I've experienced what it feels to be broke. I've experienced success. I've experienced failure. And I know that my mentor, Bob Proctor, I know that what he says about there's a season to sow, there's a season to reap, but we don't do both in the same season, meaning that you're going to go for this dream, you're going to go for this goal, but it's not going to manifest into physical reality into a certain amount of time. It might take you a year, it might take you 6 months. So, you know, going from pagers to cell phone to talking on the phone unlimited, because I remember when they shipped me my first phone, my mom was upset. She's like, "Oh my God, the bill for the phone is $5,000. What did you do?" Because me not knowing at a young age, I didn't know they were keeping track of my minutes on the phone. I didn't know that they were keeping track of all the usage that I was using. My mom ended up getting hit with the bill. Now that company was MCI WorldCom. That company was actually being investigated for fraud. They actually closed the company down. So luckily, the bill was dismissed. They didn't charge her the amount. It was like $5,000 at that time. It was like a crazy amount of money. I had that phone for like 6 months. I kept using it and using it. And then after that job at McDonald's, I wanted a better life. I wanted to make more money. So I got a job at Sears. I was a senior in high school. I think I was a junior in high school, and I got a job at Sears Corporation. And if you ever go to Chicago, the big building called the Willis Tower is actually the Sears Tower originally. So Sears got wealthy from selling magazines online. They used to sell like craftsman tools and stuff like that. So that was like back in the 60s. And I worked for them. And then I ended up getting another job at this company called Circuit City, where in 2000, the year 2000, 1999, 2000, 2001, I was working for this corporation selling cell phones. So now they're giving me a free phone. I'm selling phones, and it was a good time. I was making like $75,000 a year. I was making more money than my manager because I was selling phones. Everybody wanted phones. So in life, we go through these trends where everybody wants to participate in something that is brand new. And I participated in that technology in the cell phone. There was no internet on the phone back then in the year 2000. And, having that job and making that amount of money, when I lost my job, they actually laid me off because they couldn't afford to pay me because the Twin Towers got hit. So I lost that job. And I went to unemployment. I went to collect a check from the government. And I didn't know about the law of attraction. I didn't know who Bob Proctor was. I didn't even know that these concepts existed. So after that, I seen a lot of my friends making a lot of money in the mortgage industry. So I went to go do mortgages and learn that business. So most of the time, you don't do what you really want. You do what other people are doing because they're making money and you want to make money. So you don't really do what you want to do because you're seeing everybody else make money and you're like, well, I don't care what I have to do, but I want to get rich. Now, if you were to understand the concepts of what Bob Proctor talks about getting wealthy, you'd understand that being wealthy is a mindset. That's why I created the company Wealth Mindset Group, because being wealthy is a state of mind. So you have to stop looking at what's on the outside. Like if I would have got this information at a young age, I would have turned, you know, my mind into something positive to attract an abundance, because I was thinking an abundance was learning how to do mortgages. Now, what happened from 2003 to 2008? I was working in the mortgage industry as an operations manager for Legacy Mortgage, First Capital Mortgage, and then they stopped lending money in massive quantities, so it got harder for people to buy houses. So what did I do? I went to go work for a bank. And then one of my friends told me, like, man, you're never going to succeed because the mortgage industry is a dying business. So I went through a depression and I almost died. I almost killed someone else in the process through a driving drunk, driving under the influence. And then I ended up in a boot camp facility after I had graduated from college with a finance and investment management degree. So why did I go to college? I go to college because everybody told me that I needed a degree to succeed. But if you only knew that Thomas Edison, the guy that created the incandescent light bulb, He was too dumb to go to school that they actually kicked him out. And his mom actually lied to him. She said that he was too smart to go to school with the other kids, so she had to educate him at home. And guess what? He grew up to be a genius, and he literally changed the world by creating the incandescent light bulb through the method of combustion. That's why when you drop a bulb, it pops. So when people talk to me about success, it's like, what are you willing to give to get to where you want to go? There's never something for nothing, as Napoleon Hill says. You have to pay the price. You have to give something. So when you write down your goals on a card, like, you may want to write down on the back of the card what you're willing to give. Like, you could put what you want, but on the back of the card, put what you're willing to give to get to where you want to be, to get to the goal. Put a date. If you don't get to the goal, it's okay. Change the date, keep going for the goal. And learning that as a child, as I was growing up through life, that I didn't understand what energy is. You see, science and theology, they disagree on a lot of things, but they come to an unanimous decision on one thing, that nothing's created and nothing's destroyed. So that means everything you want is already here, but it's on a certain frequency. Your mind is on a certain frequency and it thinks in pictures. Everything you touch is on a frequency. These iPod Pros are on a frequency. The pen is on a frequency. The car that you want is on a frequency. The house that you want is on a frequency. So literally, we're only dealing with frequency, vibration, and energy. Energy just is. Nothing's created, nothing's destroyed. So the moment you think about what you want, it's on a certain frequency. But you're operating on a level of awareness down here, so you cannot match the picture because there's a connection not being made. The connection that has to be made is through your emotion, because the mind is not the brain. The brain is something physical. The mind is non-physical. It's the opposite of physical. The energy just is. You're a spirit, you're an intellect, you have an intellect, you live in a body, you're here to experience something that you've never experienced before. So that could mean that you've always been here. And since you've always been here, you're here to accomplish a mission, to do something that has not been experienced in the past. And what is spirit? Like Bob Proctor says, spirit is for expansion and fuller expression, never for disintegration, never for hard times. How can you experience time, money, and freedom if you're broke and you have a poverty conscience? That's why we do what we see. I was seeing my sister work. She worked for the same bank I did, JP Morgan Chase. I worked for JP Morgan Chase. She went to DePaul University. I went to DePaul University. She graduated with a bachelor's degree. I didn't graduate with a bachelor's degree. I graduated with a degree in finance and investment management. But at the essence, it's what you're thinking about, because what you're thinking about is attracting the circumstances that you're involved with. So, for me, it's like, okay, well, what do you really, really, really want, right? And what's holding you back from going for the goals? What holds you back is fear, because you don't get what you want, you get what you fear. And people would rather die than think. So it's like, okay, well, are you thinking? What are you thinking about? And how far are you willing to go to get your heart hurt, to get your mind hurt? Why? Because you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. And the more you understand that it's not about the money, it's about you. And who are you? It's like the Mount of Apollo when you go to Greece. Back in the day, Socrates, they were talking about prisoners in the underground den. Did you know that you're a prisoner? But the beautiful part about this prison is you hold the key to get out of the prison. It's like Vernon Howard would say, he's like, the cave that you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. So what is it that you really, really want? And what's stopping you from going to $5,000 residual income, $100,000 a month in residual income? Because it's an idea. And when you grab the energy and you entertain the idea through auto suggestion, the idea has no ability to reject. The subconscious mind must accept. It's immoral. It's like Earl Nightingale says, you can plant nightshade or deadly poison, and not even a 16th of an inch away, you can plant corn or sweet food. It gives you what you plant. Are you planning 10 million? Are you planning 20 million? What are you planning? Because it's your awareness, your belief system that taps you in through the emotion. So you have to literally go back to find out why you've been hurt. Who hurt you? What happened? and write it down, and then burn it, and then write the opposite. So if the most you've ever made was 50,000 pounds, 70,000 pounds a year, put a month and then sign it and commit it to memory. Auto suggest it. Like Andrew Carnegie, when he met Napoleon Hill, he seen something in Napoleon Hill that Napoleon Hill didn't even see in himself. And he told Napoleon, look at yourself in a mirror at night and in the morning. Tell yourself, Napoleon, not only will I surpass Andrew Carnegie in life, but I'm going to meet him at the post and beat him at the Grand Slam. What does that mean? That means that Andrew Carnegie, through these concepts, he was only able to make 10 millionaires. Then he died. He had a hard time giving all his wealth away. Napoleon Hill, through these concepts, because of Andrew Carnegie, has made millions of millionaires, myself included. When I first made 1.75 million back in 2017, I looked at my bank statements. I was like, wow, this stuff works. Time to go for the big goals. Time to do what scares me. Ultimately, my end goal is to get you to 1 million. That's my end goal. And not just you, but the whole world. It's like Bob Proctor says, I was in Glenview, Illinois with a pen, and I decided to start a company that operated all around the world. Now, that was in the 60s. He's 87, 86 right now. He's been in the personal growth and development field for 60 years. But it's not only personal growth and development, it's laws of attraction. Now, attraction is a secondary law. The first law is the transmutation of energy, the perpetual transmutation of energy. Now, the energy is not in your skull. It's not in your brain. The energy is actually outside of your body, but it's all around you. There was a photographer, Semyon Curly, back in the 30s, back in the late 40s. He perfected a form of photography called Curlian photography. He was a Russian photographer. You could actually see the mass leaving the body. So you have greatness in you. You have intelligence all around you, and you have trillions of cells, and each cell is intelligent. So you have intelligence all around you, but you've been confused, like Ernest Holmes says. If you ever Google Ernest Holmes, he says humanity has been living in a state of confusion because you've never got this. You've been indoctrinated with going to school, looking at A's and B's, and according to your grades is how successful you were. You've been looking at the valedictorian, the top of the class, saying, oh my God, I wish I could be like him. There would be no way. But if you only knew the valedictorian, he lost the shine in his eye. When he went out to the real world, he got crushed. He might have ended up in the wrong relationship. He might have ended up at the wrong job. And if you were to bump into him 30 years from now, he'd say, how did you get rich if I was the valedictorian? So you don't need to be the valedictorian. You don't need to be an honor roll student. All you need to do is understand that the energy just is. When you tap into the energy with your mind, you create beautiful pictures of abundance, never of lack and limitation, always for prosperity, always for advancement. So yes, you could have time, money, and freedom. What will you give? How many sessions of these calls can you be on? How many people are you talking to get to the next level? Because it's not just sit here and wait. Things are not just going to fall in place. You have to have a plan. It doesn't have to be precise, but it has to be a plan. How many people are you working with? How many people do you want to help get to the next level? Just like me with the calls, dedicated every single day, regardless if I'm in a different country or not, every single day on the calls. And you guys, the state of mind must be belief. Like Napoleon Hill says, there's a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. No one's ready for a thing until they believe they can acquire it. Remember, no more effort is required to aim high in life than to demand prosperity and abundance than there is to accept lack and limitation. It doesn't matter if you're 70, if you're 40, if you're 20. When you get this and you study this, the only thing that can go up is you, because that's what you're here to do. There's 3 things said that advance humanity, that actually get you off your butt: love, sex, and financial gain. When you find out what sparks you, love, sex, and financial gain, there's only 3 things that humanity's interested in: love, sex, and financial gain. Google it. Find out who Napoleon Hill is. Napoleon Hill was my mentor. He was already dead, But guess what? I've been studying the laws of success for over 10 years, every single day. I've been reading this book, Think and Grow Rich, for 10 years, every single day. I've been reading books like Outwitting the Devil, How to Raise Your Own Salary, The Laws of Success, every single day. Because there is a time where your goal will arrive. And when it does, you shouldn't be excited. That's what Ernest Holmes says. And he teaches this as well. He's got a YouTube video. You can find his videos, Ernest Holmes. He says, don't be excited when these wonderful things come into your life because you were born rich. It's part of who you are. Humanity's waking up to these concepts. That's why they're fighting back the banking system, which is literally collapsing. Our banking system, our old way of doing things is literally collapsing. We're breaking free. We're using the right part of our brain. We're not like an attorney or a lawyer that uses the left part, the logical side. If you use your logic, you're stuck, you're finished. You need to go into fantasy, create a theory, a plan. It doesn't have to be precise, and then create the fact. Stop looking at what's in front of you with your lower faculties, with what you can see, smell, taste, hear, and touch. Use your imagination. Hold on to it with your will, like the other Napoleon when he took over France. He says, I see only the objective, the object must give way. I see only my objective, the object must give way. Attack, go to Russia. He was the only one that ended up going to Russia, took over all Europe. Hitler couldn't even do it. Napoleon Hill says that when the laws are not according to God, you're finished, you're toast. That's why Napoleon Bonaparte was taken out. That's why Adolf Hitler was taken out. And you'll be taken out because money is a magnifier. Money makes you more of who you are. If you're a good person, then you're going to extend the good that you desire to everybody else. That's why Procter Gallagher is building schools every other week in Africa. Do you want to build schools? Do you want to help somebody out? Do you want to extend the good that you desire? Do you want to be wealthy? Do you want to become more of who you are? Will wealthy make you a better person or a worse person? Do you really believe what the television's telling you, what your friends are telling you? Because at the true core of essence, you're dealing with quantum realities. You choose the reality. Whatever you're entertaining, whatever you're thinking about is manifesting in your physical reality. And there's a lot of different physical realities, believe it or not. Even though you might see this physical, if you look through it through a fine microscope, a telescope, this is not physical. There's frequencies dancing all around this thing. And just like that nice song that you like listening to when you feel good and you're like, oh man, this is a good song. You're vibrating higher. When you play the right song and you create pictures of your mind of how it would feel, you're going to create the lifestyle that you want. It's like when you watch a movie. Did you ever listen to the background of the movie? Like if you're watching a horror movie, you're going to hear this background that is scaring you. See, you watch a movie, if you were to watch a movie with no music, it wouldn't be a movie. The music makes the movie. The actor makes the movie. When you're going for the car, the house, the residual income, the chairman 10, the chairman 100, the chairman 750, when you're going for these things, play a song in the background so it can remind you that song matches your goal. Have a song that is related to your goal. Find a song. Maybe it could be, we will rock you. When Michael Jordan would come out, the Bulls would be playing. They would say, we would rock you. I forgot what musician plays it. You may want to Google it. But that could be a sample for you. There's so many other songs, great songs, house music, jazz, whatever you're emotionally connected to. Feeling is the secret, as Neville Goddard says. Feeling is the secret. You know, I talk to you guys a lot. We have another call in less than a minute with Vincent. I think he's actually on the call. Let's see. He left the call. So join his Zoom call because he's going to be doing the presentation and I'll be on tomorrow. There's so much stuff that you can learn from me because I've been through the failure. I know how it is. Just like Napoleon Hill, when he lost his mom, he was sitting at a river. He was hungry. He was trying to eat a fish. And he said, one day I'm going to be successful and I'm going to come back here in my Rolls Royce. And guess what? He did. He's from Wise County, Virginia. So do something to get your vibration up. Don't listen to broke people, because if you do, you're toast, you're done. Listen to people that have a track record of success, people that do have time, money, and freedom. Don't listen to people that are criticizing the world, because they have every reason why you can't be successful. They're never going to tell you that you could be, because they're too scared of themselves. They're not willing to man up and to face the failures that you're going to go through to get to the next level. But guess what? When you get to the next level, you're going to appreciate everything you went through. And that's what it's about. It's about growing. So I want to thank you guys for your time, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time. Jump on Vincent's call. I hope you guys have a good day. We're in the call, and Sabil might be joining us tomorrow. So I want to wish you guys the best. Remember, auto suggest, keep repeating the goal. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.